Her triumphs, I took a group of women that didn't believe in themselves, and I just believed in them. Her trials,
I never wanted to go to practice. I was losing a ton of weight.
her story,
I just put my faith in God and just trusted the system.
her why.
I want people to see what I did and say, oh, that's so awesome. I'm going to be better than that. That would be how I hope that this journey ends.
This is Her Why, where we tell the stories from BYU women's sports. Here's your host, Lauren McLean.
We're so glad you've joined us for Her Why, where we celebrate the women that make BYU sports great. Joining us is Jaslyn Gardner, a record-holding sprinter on the BYU track and field team. Thanks for being here with me, Jaslyn.
Yes, thank you for having me.
We're excited to talk to you. You're an incredible athlete, and I'm excited to get to know you as a person a little bit. Your bio says that you love calligraphy, art, and music. How did you find out that calligraphy was something that you loved?
I just if I'm just bored, I'll usually just doodle on paper, and I really am big into motivational quotes and just quotes that just make me think about things deeper. And so I just put the two together, just drawing and words. And so I just kind of got into that just for fun.
So cool. Is it plastered all over your room?
I used to do a lot of calligraphy and just put them on my walls, but I got kind of busy, so I haven't done that in a while.
I would say so. You have a lot going on right now. What's your favorite form of art? Because, you mentioned calligraphy and music. What would you say is your favorite art form?
I would say music. Yeah.
What type of music?
I kind of listen to a lot of everything, but I would say my top one is kind of more R&B.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you also say in your bio that you're a songwriter.
Yes.
Do you perform your songs?
I have before when I was 16-ish.
Okay.
Yeah, I performed one of my songs for Women in Excellence. So
That's
I did that
cool.
once, but yeah.
And is that more do you write kind of more R&B type stuff?
No, it's I guess it's more sentimental, piano, just kind of softer music, but yeah.
So cool. I love that. Well, you recently competed in the Big 12 Championships in Waco, Texas. And you did very well. How would you describe how that meet went for you?
The meet was very, I would say almost kind of mentally exhausting because we had 3 lightning delays, every day of the meet. And so I didn't end up running until later in the day. But I feel I just was pretty strong and just focusing on what I needed to do when the race came, depending on, it didn't really matter what time the race was at, but I just felt my mindset was ready to go either way. So it was a good experience overall.
Are you a pretty even-keeled type person, or are you do you have to hype yourself up right before you're about to run? How does that work for you?
I'm usually just pretty chill and just kind of just do one thing at a time. I don't really have to get super hyped up to get ready to go. I'm more of I'll just take deep breaths and just kind of just chill before I run. So
you're the sports psychologist's dream. That's what they're trying to get everyone else to do, right?
Yeah.
You're just naturally that way. You broke 2 school records on senior day at the Robinson Invitational in the 100-meter and 200-meter sprints. When you found out that you broke the records, what was that moment like for you?
It was very special because it was my senior year and I wanted to end on a high note, and I kind of felt it was expected. I expected myself to PR because I think almost every home meet I've PR'd each year, so I kind of just felt I knew it was going to happen. And so when I felt I executed well and that I actually did PR in both my events, that it was pretty special, and I was pretty happy about that.
What is it about BYU's track that makes you run so well? Because you mentioned that both happened here at home, right?
Yeah. I really the track is just because you train on it every day, and you get to wake up in your bed, and the travel doesn't really mess with you too much. But I feel mindset wise, it's just it's your home track, and so it's just easier to run your best when it's you feel more at home, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. You graduated last year and you could have gone pro. Why did you decide to stay at BYU for a 6th year? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, what made you decide to stay?
I decided to stay because we didn't get COVID year, like in 2020, we didn't get the outdoor season. And then after that, I redshirted the next year. And so it was already like a year and a half that I didn't get to compete. And I was like, well, like I didn't get the chance to like even finish my season or like start my season. And so I just wanted to like get that back, so I at least get my 4 years and like to see like what I can do. And I wanted to be able to come back and just continue to run, even though I had surgery on my foot. And I wanted to come back and see if I can get back down to my faster times and just like continue to run. And so, yeah, I decided to just stay and get that extra year.
Wow. So you had surgery on your foot. So being fast, it's a natural ability, but just like anything, you can work at it and you can get even faster.
Yeah.
But you had foot surgery. How have you been able to get faster every single season despite having some of those setbacks like that?
Yeah. I feel like the main thing for me is that every time I've like gotten hurt with a little injury, like I've hurt my ankles before, I've pulled my hamstrings many times, and then I got foot surgery. And I feel like I've just been pretty consistent with doing exercises that the doctors give me, the trainers give me. And then like the next time I'm like, hey, like this is what I didn't do that made me like pull my hamstring or something. And so I just like have to focus on keeping that muscle like strong and just it's kind of just a patient journey, I feel like. And then I just have to like kind of go from there and just keep adding different exercises that I feel like are going to help me like stay healthier.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I just did that over the years, and that kind of helped me the most.
What are some of the specific techniques that you as a sprinter do to get faster and stronger?
For me as a sprinter, and a lot of people do things differently, but I feel like my main focus is just getting stronger in the weight room. We do a lot of Olympic lifts and like plyometrics and stuff like that. And then I think for me, the biggest thing that's changed is like my form overall. I'm very like tightly like sprung, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm just a really tight like athlete, and like I have quite a bit of muscle, and so I'm not like super flexible. I haven't ever been flexible in my life, but yeah, I feel like just working on like little things, like trying to like get more flexible and like improve my mobility and then improve my technique has just gotten better and helped me get faster.
You hold the fastest time ever at BYU in the 60 meters. In 2021, you broke your own record. Was that something that shocked you, or did you feel like you knew you were going to do it? Just kind of like you said earlier.
Yeah. I think it kind of shocked me. I knew I was very close, but I feel like it was still like a shock to be like, oh, like I actually like broke the record. I didn't really think, like my goal was always to just kind of keep climbing up the board. And then once I like jumped up to like the number one spot, it was kind of shocking and just kind of like, oh, that was exciting. And like I didn't, like it was cool to do that. So yeah.
When that happens, are you like, I have arrived, like I'm here, or are you like, I want to keep going? Because I mean, clearly there are some incredibly fast people, that are running collegiately right now. So what was that feeling like when you finally hit that mark?
I know when I hit that mark, I was like, this is exciting. I hit this mark. I think I can keep going and like continue to fix the little things and fine tune the little things to get even faster than that. So yeah, I think my goal is always to just look forward to trying to get faster.
You went to Enterprise High School, which is a small 2A school. You then commit to coming to a Division I athletic university known for its elite track and field program. What was that transition like for you, growing up in a small town, then coming to a big university?
Yeah, the transition was pretty big. I remember just like when I got here, everything was so new. Like we started lifting a lot, and the workouts were like twice as hard, and I had to fix my form like immediately. Like I kind of went back to square one. It almost felt like I was starting over with like my form and just like fixing a lot of things that I didn't realize I had to fix when I was in high school. And so the transition was like a lot, especially my freshman year. And then like the years after that, I got used to it, and like this is like the expectation, and like this is what we do now. So yeah, like over the years, the transition was smoother, and I was able to like just continue to get better.
Had running in college always been a dream for you, something you always wanted to do?
Yes. So I started running when I was 10, and for the most part, I just wanted to keep running each year. And then once I got to high school, I think freshman year, I was like, yeah, I definitely want to like do this in college. And so I just kept like working hard at like trying to get faster in high school so that I can like get some offers or like get the opportunity to like get recruited to go and run in college.
Well, it worked out for you because before coming to BYU, you had multiple state titles, broke state records in the 100 meter, 200 meter, and the long jump. You had a personal best in long jump at BYU. Did you compete in that just for fun, or how did that come about?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just did it for fun. I was like, I'm running a lot, so I think it'd be fun to have like a field event just to throw in there, just to give me a little break, or just to try something new. And so, I just tried that for fun mostly.
And did the coaches want you to keep doing that, or what happened after that?
After that, I did it freshman year, and then my shins started hurting a lot, so my coaches were like, oh, let's just keep you at the sprints since that's more your like main event. So
You also played basketball and volleyball in high school. Did you ever think you wanted to pursue one of those sports instead of track?
Yeah, volleyball was my second main sport. I did that all 4 years in high school, and I do like to go and play for fun here and there still. And at first I was like, maybe I could do volleyball in college, but still, like, overall, track was, like, my number one, and so I just decided to pick one. It'd be easier to just pick one.
So what was it about track that stood out to you that made you pick it above these other sports?
I think it was mostly just that I was continuing to get better over the years, and it's always just been something that I've loved. Like, the atmosphere of track and field has always been something I've loved, and just competing against really talented athletes and just like continuing to get better and faster has always just been like cool to me. I like speed, I guess. Like, speed is just cool to me. So I just like decided to stick with track.
At what point, if you remember, did you realize like I'm pretty fast? Like, I can do this. Do you remember like having a moment where you realized that about yourself?
I don't think I specifically remember a moment, but I remember my parents would always tell me like that my grandpa thought I was fast when I was like 3 years old. I just kind of like run, and he's like, oh, I can tell she's fast, or she's going to be fast or something. And then when I first started when I was 10, I was a little like scared to try out track, and I would win some races, but I was too scared to like go to bigger meets to go against like higher competition or like people who were faster or something like that. And then I kind of just grew out of that, and like I wanted to go against competition to make me even better. And so I kind of like switched, but What was your recruiting process like when it came time? Because again, you're in a really small school, you know, but I mean, you are breaking state titles too, state records. And so what was your recruiting process like? The recruiting process kind of started, I guess, back when I did club track before I did high school track, and my club coach kind of helped me kind of look ahead to the future of like, you have the possibility to like become a collegiate athlete. And so I kind of had that on my mind. And in the summers I would run for the club and go to other meets outside of the state and compete and stuff like that. And I think those meets gave me a little more exposure, where like the meets that are outside of the state that are more like for the club teams and the club events, that's where you have some like coaches who are collegiate coaches who are kind of recruiting or kind of just watching to see like who could be a future athlete for them and stuff. So I feel like those meets helped me the most. Okay.
Were there other schools that were recruiting you during your high school years?
Yeah, there were a few, mostly local, like Weber State, UVU. And then there were some from the East Coast, like Miami and I think Las Vegas, UNLV in Las Vegas. But they kind of just gave me letters mostly. And BYU put in the most effort, and Weber put in the most effort too. BYU, the coach at the time, did like a home visit, and I did a visit here. And I liked the visit and the atmosphere, and just like decided like off the bat that I wanted to come here. And I asked my coach if they went up against like big competition or go to these big meets, and she was like, yeah, we go to big meets, and it's just like a good experience to go to these bigger meets. And so I was like, okay, like that's pretty much the main thing that I want to do. And it was kind of nice because BYU is like 3 hours from home, so I'm close to home as well. So at first I was thinking I wanted to go out of the state to go to college and do track, but then I was like, I think we'll just like stick to being closer to home.
I feel like it can go both ways. Someone that grows up in a small town, some of them are like just itching to get out of their small town, but some people just love it. Which one were you? Were you itching to get out, or because you did stay kind of close to home?
Yeah, I guess I was more like wanting to go to a bigger place, like a bigger opportunity. And I guess like here at BYU, it's definitely like bigger, like compared to my small town, so it's just a step above. Like I didn't want to like have to jump to like a super like city like place, and so like BYU was a good fit to like it's small enough but like big enough that like I can still get different opportunities.
When you first set foot on campus, did you have any idea what you would be able to accomplish here at BYU? Like, is it weird now that you're in your sixth year looking back at freshman you? Like, would you have had any idea? Or did you think, no, I'm going to break these records?
Yeah, like freshman year, I definitely didn't have like a huge idea of like what I could do or like what my potential was, I guess. And I was still kind of like scared of like, oh, like now it's like more serious. Like we're in college and like there's a little more pressure compared to high school. But then like once I realized that I was like starting to run better and was able to like climb up the top 10 board, that it became more like, oh, I want to continue to keep climbing up the board and like maybe get the number 1 spot and just continue to get faster. So yeah.
I want to ask you about that because you mentioned that when you were younger, you were kind of scared to compete against people that were potentially better than you, right? And then you come to college, you kind of have that same fear. How are you able to overcome that fear and keep getting better? Yeah,
I feel like because I wanted to run in college, and I just could see that like when you're in college, like everyone's going to be good. And so I feel like I just had to force myself to run against people who were good or better than me so that I can get better as well, and so that it won't be something that seems scary.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the more that I did that, the less it was scary for me to do that.
We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, Jaslyn tells us about her adoption experience and growing up in a small town. Stay right here. This is Her Why. Welcome back to Her Why. I'm Lauren McLean with BYU sprinter Jaslyn Gardner. So you're from a small town, we talked about it, called Enterprise here in Utah, which a lot of people probably haven't heard of. What was it like growing up there?
It's just a really small farming, like agricultural, like community, and you have a lot of relatives for the most part, and it's small enough that you know like people in the grade above you and the grade below you at school, and it was just like a small community experience, and we have a lot of like town traditions that are kind of fun, and I guess the main thing I can say is that it's just like super open spaced. So like I kind of got used to the open space and kind of appreciated like quietness, I guess, because it does seem a lot more quiet in a small town, and so like it was just kind of fun that way.
In small towns, you kind of have to create your own fun. What were some of the things you did for fun as a kid? Yeah,
like as a kid, we do like hiking or like ride 4-wheelers and go camping or fishing, just things like a lot of outdoor stuff. And so those kind of the main things, just a lot of outdoorsy stuff. So are your parents kind of like cowboys? Like are they? I would say more like kind of ranchers, maybe. I guess my dad's kind of like that way, but yeah, I have like some family members who are like more like cowboys or like go to rodeos and compete in rodeos and stuff like that. So yeah. So cool. We're going to get to your adoption a little bit later, but what was it like for you? Because you're in Utah, it's predominantly white people, and you look around and you have your brother, but there's not very many people that looked like you. Was that something that affected you as a child, or did you notice? I feel like I didn't really notice too much. I did I guess you notice like, the color difference and stuff, but I guess I didn't notice too much until I was like older. and realize like what it meant more to me. As a kid, you kind of just are carefree and just
Right.
kind of like just do your own thing and everything's all good. But yeah, I didn't really notice too much until I got a little older.
But there is something beautiful in that, right? There's
Yeah.
something beautiful in that innocence. You have 3 siblings. What was it like growing up with them?
Growing up with like my 3 siblings, my like older brother and older sister graduated high school. They were out of the house by the time me and my brother were 11, and so technically it was kind of just me and my brother for a lot of it. They went off to college, and my brother went on his mission, and so it was just me and my twin brother going through high school for the most part. And so like, yeah, I just get along with my twin brother, and he was my friend, and just like everything was all fun and stuff.
What's the athleticism like in your family? Like your parents and your other siblings, are they as athletic as you?
Yeah, I would say they're pretty athletic. My siblings all did sports in high school. My twin brother did like football, basketball, track as well. My sister did basketball, softball, volleyball, and my older brother did football. And so yeah, we all just like we did sports growing up.
And did any of them make it to the collegiate level in their sports?
No, they didn't have the desire, I guess, to do it collegiately. But yeah.
You and your brother Jalen are both adopted. How did your parents come to adopt you?
Yeah. So my parents had my older siblings, and then like 9 to 11 years later, my mom and dad wanted to have more kids, and my mom just couldn't. And so they were like, we should adopt. And so they did their research and like, the adoption process, and were able to find me and my brother. And so it was kind of like a 2-for-1 deal. You get 2 kids and adopt us together. So.
And incredible that you and your brother got to stay together.
Yeah.
Was there a specific time in your life where you felt like you had to come to grips with the fact that you were adopted, or has that been anything like an issue or anything for you?
No, it hasn't really been an issue. It's just kind of like, I feel like I just kind of grew up just knowing like, oh, I know I'm adopted, and like it was for the best. Like my family's really loving, and my birth mom just couldn't take care of me and my brother at the time that she had us. And so, and she wanted me and my twin brother to grow up somewhere in the country, because I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, and I guess she just wanted us to not be like living in the city where she was living. And so I guess her main thing was that she wanted me and my brother to grow up in like a smaller town and just like out in the country where it's just a little bit nicer, I guess. But I don't know.
Wow. There's something beautiful in that. You've set personal records, you've broken your own records, and you made your mark at BYU since you've been here. What has it meant to you to see all of that personal growth in yourself?
I guess what it means to me is that I've just been able to stay strong over the years. I could have like stopped like many times, I guess, if I've gotten hurt every year. And I have gotten hurt every year, like little injuries where like I could have just like decided to be done. But like I've loved track so much that I just like didn't want to like stop there. Like I wanted to continue to come back and get better. And so I guess to me it's just like it's one of those things that I will continue to like fight for, because it's just something I really love and have always loved.
Do you have any favorite pre-race routines or superstitions that you do before every meet?
I don't really have any superstitions, but I do have like a routine. Like in the morning, I usually like to eat like some eggs and some toast. And then for lunch, I like to have either a salad or like a sandwich. And then so I get like those carbs in, I guess, earlier. And then usually I run like later in the day. And I usually don't really eat a dinner before I run. I like to like stay pretty empty, not feel super full when I'm about to run. And then, yeah, just mostly just stuff like that. And I like to, sometimes I'll listen to music to like just clear my mind.
Yeah.
I don't like to think of the track meet or like me racing like too much ahead of time, or else I get kind of stressed out a little bit. So I like to just like kind of just relax and just be chill, and then think about what I'm going to do in the race, like my execution plan and my cues when I'm like warming up and stuff like that. So like not like too soon before I'm actually about to run.
You mentioned cues. What does that mean? Because, like, from an
Yeah.
outsider, it's like, okay, you're running the 100. You just go,
Yeah.
right? So, like, what does that mean?
Yeah, the cues are just kind of like what you're going to do in your execution plan. Like, for me, like, my cues is like, oh, like, drive when I'm, like, coming out of the blocks. And then I like to think, oh, attack the ground, like, just, like, stuff like that to, like each phase of, like, the race and stuff like that.
And there are little phrases that kind of pop up in your head.
Yeah.
Are you going to miss the routine? Because you're kind of coming towards the end of your collegiate career. Is it something you're going to miss? Or are you kind of looking forward to giving your body a little bit of a break?
It's definitely going to be something I'll miss. But at the same time, I'm looking forward to, like, getting a break. I can see myself just kind of, like healing once I'm done. Like, you just get, your body just kind of feels a lot better once you're not going super hard every day and, like, going 100% every day. And so it's kind of nice to get that break. But then, like, after a while, you kind of miss, like, working super hard. So, yeah.
On BYU Sports Nation fairly recently, you mentioned that you'll be happy with either continuing running or moving forward into a career. Is that still the case, or have you kind of made up your mind of what you want to do?
That's still kind of the case. It's kind of like 50-50. I would be happy if I, like, was able to continue running. But at the same time, like, I've gotten to the point where, like, my hamstrings are, like, chronically hurting and, like injuries are kind of come back and stuff like that. But at the same time, I've still been able to, like, get better over the years. So it's one of those things that's, like, I think I could still, like, continue to try it out. Like, I might as well, like, try if I could. And then if I, like, get injured or just, like, can't do it anymore, then I'll just, like, be done. And so, but yeah, I think it'd be fun to continue running. At the same time, I know I'm like, oh, I kind of want to start my career too.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of just like, it'd be cool to do both at the same time, but it could be kind of hard too, yeah.
Well, only one way to find out, right? You studied exercise science. So do you still want to be a personal trainer or start a coaching career?
Yeah, I want to do personal training and coaching.
Okay, I love it. Do you feel satisfied with what you've accomplished at BYU, or do you still feel like there's just a little bit more that you want to give?
I feel satisfied for the most part. I do feel like if I had, like, one more year, like, oh, I could accomplish a lot more. Each year I've just been able to be ranked higher in the nation. And so, like, that's always been, like, one of my goals is to, like, just keep getting ranked higher each year. Just continue to get faster and break those PRs each year as well. So I feel like since I've been able to do that every year, I feel pretty satisfied.
As you near the end of your collegiate running career, how do you feel about this chapter coming to a close?
How I feel about this chapter coming to a close is it's gonna, like, right now I don't feel super, like, sad about it, but I feel like it'll probably hit me, like, once it's, like, my actual last time running or something. But I do feel like at the same time, I've ran for 13 years, and so it's been a long journey and, like, a long, like, track career that, like, it'll be okay to be done. But also it's like, it's just, like, kind of sad to see, like, how far I've come, but, like, also happy at the same time. And so, like, I guess it's just kind of like a happy experience overall.
I'm here with Jaslyn Gardner, record-holding sprinter for the BYU track and field team. Well, you've definitely left your mark here at BYU. You're an incredible athlete in person. Thank you so much for taking the time with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks also to Annie Robinson and Sydney Simpson for producing this episode. Cleon Wall is the senior producer. Her Why is a production of BYU Radio.